The phone rang at 3:47 a.m., jolting me from the silk sheets of my king-sized bed. My sister Samantha's voice cracked through the speaker, desperation bleeding through every word. If this kind of story speaks to your heart, please support us by subscribing. Drop a hi in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Now, let's continue today's story. Asha, please, we got nowhere else to go. Ezekiel lost his job 3 months ago, and we just got evicted. The kids are sleeping in the car right now. I sat up in my 8-bedroom mansion, looking out at the moonlit pool through floor-to-ceiling windows. After building my tech consulting firm from nothing, I'd finally made it. But family is family. Samantha, slow down. What happened? The landlord changed the locks today. Said we owed 4 months' rent. Baby Zara's got a fever, and Jamal keeps asking why we can't go home. Her voice broke completely. I know we ain't been close since Mama died, but you're all we got left. The guilt hit me like a sledgehammer. While I was living in luxury, my sister's family was homeless. Growing up in the projects, we'd sworn we'd never let each other fall that far. Pack whatever you can. I'm sending an Uber. You can stay here until you get back on your feet. Oh God, Asha, thank you. I promise we won't be no trouble. Just temporary, I swear. As I hung up, I stared at my reflection in the bedroom's mirror wall. At 35, I'd worked 16-hour days for 15 years to escape our past. Now I was voluntarily inviting it back in. I had no idea I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. 2 hours later, a battered Honda Civic limped up my circular driveway, followed by an Uber loaded with trash bags. I watched from my marble foyer as my sister emerged, looking older than her 32 years. Her husband Ezekiel climbed out slowly, avoiding eye contact. Their 3 kids stumbled behind them like sleepwalkers. Damn, Asha, Samantha breathed, stepping into my entryway. This place is... I mean, I knew you was doing good, but this is like TV money. 10-year-old Jamal's mouth hung open as he stared at the crystal chandelier. 8-year-old Nancy clutched a raggedy doll, eyes wide. Baby Zara whimpered in Samantha's arms, her fever-flushed cheeks breaking my heart. Welcome home, I said, meaning it. Let me show you to your rooms. Ezekiel finally spoke, his voice bitter. Rooms? Plural. The kids can share the blue bedroom upstairs. It has bunk beds and a gaming setup. You and Samantha can take the master guest suite. It has its own bathroom and sitting area. A gaming setup. Jamal's eyes lit up for the first time. As we climbed the curved staircase, I caught Samantha whispering to Ezekiel, "See? I told you she'd help us out. Look at all this space she got." Something in her tone made my stomach twist, but I pushed the feeling down. They were family. They were hurting. This was temporary. I settled them in, ordered pizza, and watched the kids' faces transform with full bellies and warm beds. This felt right. This felt like redemption for all the years I'd been too busy building my empire to check on them. I should have trusted my instincts. Asha. Samantha cornered me in my kitchen 3 weeks later, where I was making my morning smoothie before a client meeting. What's up? The kids need stability. Nancy's been crying every night, afraid we're gonna get kicked out again. They need to know this is permanent. I paused, blender in hand. Samantha, we talked about this. This is temporary until... Until what? Until Ezekiel finds another dead-end job? Until we save up enough for first month, last month, and security deposit on some roach motel. Her voice rose. These babies been through enough trauma. I understand, but... You don't understand nothing. The venom in her voice shocked me. You been sitting up in this castle while we been struggling. The least you can do is let us stay until we really back on our feet. Ezekiel appeared in the doorway, nodding along. She's right. You got 7 empty bedrooms. What you need all this space for anyway? I felt cornered in my own kitchen. Look, I love you all, but I need my space too. I work from home, I have clients over. Clients more important than family. Samantha's eyes filled with crocodile tears. Mama always said you were selfish, but I defended you. Guess she was right. The mention of our dead mother hit like a physical blow. I looked at little Zara sleeping peacefully in her carrier, at Jamal's art supplies spread across my marble countertop, at Nancy's shoes by my door. Fine. Stay as long as you need. Samantha's tears dried instantly, replaced by a satisfied smile I'd never seen before. 2 months in, I came home from a business trip to find strangers in my living room. A woman I didn't recognize was sprawled across my Italian leather sofa, smoking a cigarette and ashing into my crystal candy dish. Who the hell are you? I demanded. Chill. Ezekiel emerged from my kitchen with a beer from my imported stash. This is Samantha's friend Diamond. She going through a rough patch, so we told her she could crash here a few days. You told her she could what? Come on, Asha, Samantha appeared, rolling her eyes. Don't be dramatic. Diamond just needs somewhere to stay while she handles some business. She's practically family. She's not family. She's not staying here. Diamond finally looked up, blowing smoke in my direction. Damn, girl, you really that cold? Your own sister vouching for me, and you wanna put me out on the street. This is my house. I don't know you, and I didn't agree to this. Our house, Ezekiel corrected quietly, but the words hung in the air like a threat. Excuse me. Nothing. Samantha jumped in. He just meant like, we family, so what's yours is ours, you know? Like how Mama raised us. I looked around my living room. Empty beer bottles covered my coffee table. Cigarette burns scarred my hardwood floors. My expensive throw pillows were stained with God knows what. Diamond leaves. Tonight. Fine, Samantha huffed. But you really changed, Asha. Money done made you mean. As Diamond gathered her things, shooting me dirty looks, I wondered when helping family had become such a nightmare. I had no idea it was about to get so much worse. What the actual hell? I stood in my doorway at midnight, staring at 3 more strangers unpacking sleeping bags in my formal dining room. Oh, hey sis. Samantha bounced over like nothing was wrong. These are some friends from the old neighborhood. Trey, Montana, and Big Mike. They just need somewhere to crash while they look for work. Are you insane? I said no more people. But Asha, they homeless. You want me to turn my back on people in need? She had the audacity to look hurt. Besides, they bringing in money. Trey's got disability, Montana got food stamps, and Big Mike know people who need rides. I don't care if they're bringing in gold bars. They can't stay here. Ezekiel stepped up, beer breath washing over me. Why you being so selfish? You got all this space, and we bringing in income. We even started paying you rent. What rent? You haven't given me a dime. The money we been contributing to groceries and utilities. That's rent. You mean the money from MY credit cards that you've been using? Silence fell over the room. Trey stopped unpacking and looked between us like he was watching a tennis match. We family, Samantha said slowly, like I was stupid. Family shares. You act like we stealing from you. Because you are stealing from me. My credit cards, my food, my space, my peace of mind. You know what? Big Mike spoke up, his voice dangerous and low. Maybe we should just leave this ungrateful woman's house. Clearly, she don't appreciate having real people around. No, Samantha said firmly. We not going nowhere. This our home too now. The way she said our home made my blood run cold. I woke up to screaming at 2 a.m. Stumbling downstairs in my silk pajamas, I found chaos. Trey and Big Mike were fighting over my PlayStation 5, while Montana rifled through my wine collection. In my kitchen, someone I'd never seen before was cooking what smelled like fish on my marble countertops. What is happening? I shouted over the noise. Asha. Samantha rushed over, but she was drunk, stumbling slightly. Meet my cousin Freddie. He just got out, and he needed somewhere to. Just got out of where? Prison, Freddie answered for himself, grinning at my expression. But don't worry, it wasn't nothing violent. Just some business disagreements. I looked around my destroyed home. My custom furniture was stained and broken. My hardwood floors were scratched beyond repair. Strangers were living in every room, including my home office where I found someone's girlfriend going through my filing cabinets. Everyone out. Now. You can't kick us out. Montana yelled. We got rights. We've been living here for months. Rights? This is my house. Actually, Ezekiel appeared with a folder, grinning, about that. He pulled out papers I'd never seen before. Samantha been doing some research on tenant rights. Turns out, after living somewhere for more than 60 days, you can't just kick people out without proper notice. My heart stopped. What are you talking about? We established residency, Samantha said, no longer drunk, her eyes sharp and calculating. You got to give us 30 days written notice and go through the courts if you want us gone. You're my sister. This is my house. And we grateful, she said mockingly, but legally, we tenants now. Freddie's girlfriend Shanice used to work for a property management company. She knows the laws. I looked around at 8 strangers now living in my home, eating my food, destroying everything I'd worked for, and realized I'd been played from the very beginning. Ms. Hart, I'm afraid they are right. My lawyer, Fabian Holmes, looked uncomfortable as he reviewed the paperwork Freddie's girlfriend Shanice had prepared. Legally, they've established tenancy. You'll need to follow proper eviction procedures. But it's my house. They are destroying everything. I understand your frustration, but the law is the law. File for eviction, give 30 days notice, and if they contest it, we'll see you in court in about 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months. My voice cracked. Fabian, they're turning my home into a crack house. Document everything. Take photos. Keep receipts for damages. We'll get them out, but it takes time. I hung up feeling defeated. Walking through my house was like touring a disaster zone. The strangers had multiplied again. Freddie brought his brother Tank, who brought his kids, who brought their friends. My pool was green and full of trash. My garden was dead. Someone had spray-painted gang tags on my garage. In my kitchen, Samantha was on my landline, laughing loudly. Girl, you should see this place. 8 bedrooms, a pool, marble everything. And my sister paying for all of it. She caught sight of me and didn't even lower her voice. What? Oh, that's just Asha. She mad 'cause we actually living our best life for once. Samantha, we need to talk. Privately. I'm on the phone. Now. She rolled her eyes but followed me to what used to be my home office. Tank was passed out on my antique sofa, empty liquor bottles surrounding him. This has to stop. You're destroying everything. What's stopping? We just living here, like family do. Family doesn't steal credit cards. Family doesn't invite strangers to move in without asking. Family doesn't abandon each other neither, she cut me off. But you did. For 15 years, you was too busy getting rich to check on us. Now we here, and you want us gone already? I was gathering evidence for my lawyer when I found it. Hidden in what used to be my home gym, now Trey's bedroom, was a folder labeled Trust Fund Baby. Inside were printouts of my financial records, property deeds, business documents, everything about my life and assets. My hands shook as I flipped through pages detailing my net worth, my business contracts, even my medical information. At the bottom was a handwritten note in Samantha's familiar scrawl. Phase 1, get in the house, done. Phase 2, establish residency, done. Phase 3, document mental breakdown, in progress. Phase 4, guardianship petition, ready to file. My blood turned to ice. Guardianship petition? I kept reading. Detailed notes about my behavior, subject showing signs of paranoia and aggression. Verbally abusive to family members. Erratic spending patterns. Maybe having mental health crisis due to work stress and isolation. There were photos taken without my knowledge. Me crying after finding my destroyed office. Me screaming at Freddie to get out of my house. Me talking to myself while surveying the damage to my property. The final page was a half-completed petition for emergency guardianship, claiming I was mentally incompetent to manage my affairs due to a documented psychological breakdown. Looking for something. I spun around to find Ezekiel in the doorway, no longer the defeated, apologetic man who'd arrived months ago. His eyes were cold, calculating. "You sick bastards," I whispered. "This was all planned. Samantha said you were smart. Guess she was right." He stepped into the room, closing the door behind him. "See, we did our homework on you, little sister. Successful business owner, no family except us, no close friends, works all the time. Perfect target." "Target for what?" "For everything. Your house, your money, your business. All of it." He smiled like a shark. "And the beauty of it is, it's all legal." Dr. Patricia Williams, licensed psychiatrist, the woman introduced herself at my front door. "I understand there are concerns about your mental health." Behind her stood Samantha, putting on her best worried sister act. "Thank you for coming, doctor. I'm just so scared for her. She been acting so strange lately, paranoid, violent, talking to herself." "I didn't request a psychiatric evaluation," I said firmly. "No, but your family did. They're concerned you're having a breakdown due to work stress and isolation. They provided extensive documentation of concerning behavior." "Concerning behavior?" "They invaded my home, destroyed my property, and stole from me." Dr. Williams made notes on her tablet. "I understand you feel that way, but your sister explained that you invited them to stay, then became hostile when they tried to contribute to the household and bring in friends to help with expenses." That's completely." I stopped, seeing how my protests looked to an outsider. The house was destroyed, I was clearly agitated, and here was my calm, concerned sister just trying to help. "I think it would be beneficial to have a conversation," Dr. Williams continued. "Your family has provided photos and documentation showing some erratic behavior patterns." "What photos?" Samantha pulled out her phone, swiping through images. Me screaming at strangers in my house, me crying over my destroyed belongings, me having animated conversations with my lawyer that looked like talking to myself from a distance. "She been having episodes," Samantha said sadly. "Getting violent, throwing things, threatening people. I'm scared she gonna hurt herself or somebody else." "This is insane. They are lying." Dr. Williams' pen moved across her tablet again. "The agitation and paranoid ideation are consistent with what your family described." I realized with growing horror that every angry moment, every breakdown, every justified reaction to being robbed and manipulated had been carefully documented and presented as evidence of mental illness. They weren't just stealing my house. They were stealing my sanity. Emergency hearing granted. My lawyer Fabian called to tell me, "Ms. Hart, your sister has petitioned the court for emergency guardianship. The hearing is tomorrow at 9 a.m. "On what grounds?" "Mental incompetency. They have a psychiatric evaluation, photos, financial records showing erratic spending, and statements from multiple witnesses claiming you've been threatening and unstable." I sank into my desk chair in the only room they hadn't completely destroyed, my bedroom, which I now kept locked at all times. "Fabian, this is insane. I'm being perfectly rational. They're the ones who..." I know. But we need to be strategic here. The judge is going to see a destroyed house, emotional testimony from your family, and professional documentation of concerning behavior. We need character witnesses, evidence of their planning, proof that your reactions were justified. I have their folder. The one with all their planning documents. Good. Bring everything. And Asha? Stay calm tomorrow. Don't let them bait you into emotional reactions. That's exactly what they want. After he hung up, I walked through my house, what was left of it. In the living room, Freddie and Tank were playing video games on my destroyed furniture while their kids ran wild, trampling my Persian rugs with muddy feet. Someone had burned a hole through my dining room table using it as an ashtray. In the kitchen, Samantha was cooking dinner like she owned the place, humming happily. "Hey sis," she called out sweetly. You ready for tomorrow? I know this whole legal thing is stressful, but we just want what's best for you. What's best for me? Getting you the help you need. And making sure your assets are protected while you recover. Her smile was pure evil. Don't worry. Family's gonna take real good care of everything. I realized she wasn't just talking about guardianship. She was talking about power of attorney, financial control, everything. They were going to take it all. Judge Harrison looked exactly like what Central Casting would order for stone but fair elderly white judge. As I sat next to Fabian, I watched Samantha take the witness stand, dabbing her eyes with tissues. Your Honor, I'm scared for my sister. She's been isolated for years, working obsessively, and when we came to stay with her during our housing crisis, she just snapped. Can you describe her behavior? Violent outbursts, screaming at family members and guests, paranoid accusations about people stealing from her when we were just trying to contribute to the household. She would talk to herself, throw things, threaten people. The prosecutor, how did they get a prosecutor? Showed enlarged photos of me having what looked like screaming fits. Without context, I looked completely unhinged. And the financial concerns. She's been spending erratically, making poor business decisions. Just last month, she gave a client a $50,000 refund for no reason and fired her entire accounting team. That was a lie. I'd fired them because they were stealing, and the refund was for work we couldn't complete due to my house being overrun. But how could I prove that without sounding more paranoid? Dr. Williams testified next about my clear signs of acute stress psychosis and paranoid delusions. Then Ezekiel took the stand, painting himself as the concerned brother-in-law trying to protect his wife and children from my increasingly violent behavior. When it was my turn, Fabian kept his questions simple. Did you invite your sister's family to stay temporarily? Yes. Did they bring additional people without your permission? Yes. Did they damage your property? Yes. Are you mentally competent to manage your affairs? Absolutely. But under cross-examination, the prosecutor tore me apart. Ms. Hart, isn't it true that you accused your sister of plotting against you? Because she was. I found documents. Yes or no, did you accuse family members of plotting? Yes, but. And isn't it true you threatened to throw elderly residents out on the street? They weren't residents. They were strangers who. Yes or no? This went on for an hour. Every justified reaction was twisted into evidence of mental illness. Your Honor, Fabian stood up during what I thought was a lost cause. I'd like to present Exhibit A. He handed the judge the folder I'd found, Samantha's detailed planning documents outlining their scheme to take over my house and assets. This folder, written in the petitioner's handwriting, shows premeditated fraud. Phase 1, get in the house. Phase 2, establish residency. Phase 3, document mental breakdown. Phase 4, guardianship petition. The judge's eyebrows shot up as he read. Ms. Hart, the petitioner, is this your handwriting? Samantha's face went white. Someone must have planted. Yes or no? Is this your handwriting? Long pause. Yes, but. And this plan to document your sister's mental breakdown, was this your plan? Your Honor, my sister was having a breakdown. We was just trying to document it to help her. By secretly photographing her and researching guardianship laws before she showed any signs of distress. Fabian continued, Your Honor, I'd also like to call witness testimony via video conference from 3 of Ms. Hart's business clients who interacted with her during this period. On the courtroom screen appeared Jennifer Martinez, CEO of Martinez Industries. Judge Harrison, I worked closely with Asha throughout this period. She was professional, competent, and delivered excellent work despite mentioning some family stress. There was nothing about her behavior that suggested mental illness. 2 more clients testified similarly. Then Fabian played security footage from my business meetings, showing me calm, professional, and clearly competent. Finally, Your Honor, I present financial records showing that the only erratic spending occurred on credit cards that were stolen and used by the petitioner and her associates without Ms. Hart's knowledge. The judge looked at Samantha with disgust. You orchestrated an elaborate fraud to steal your sister's property and assets by manufacturing evidence of mental illness. No. She really was. Bailiff, please escort the petitioner out. I'm denying this petition and referring this case to the district attorney for fraud investigation. As Samantha was led away screaming about family loyalty, I finally felt like I could breathe again. 6 months later, I stood in my renovated home, watching the last contractor put finishing touches on my restored hardwood floors. The house looked better than ever. I'd used the insurance money and restitution payments to upgrade everything. Samantha pled guilty to fraud and got 18 months in prison. Ezekiel got probation and community service. The others were banned from contacting me and ordered to pay damages they'll never be able to afford. Ms. Hart. My new security system installer held up a tablet. Final walkthrough. We went through every room, cameras, motion sensors, smart locks, the works. Never again would someone invade my sanctuary. My phone rang. Fabian. Good news. The state is using your case to strengthen tenant fraud laws. Your story's going to help protect other people from similar scams. That's something, I guess. How are you feeling? I looked around my restored home, thought about my thriving business, my new security measures, my carefully rebuilt peace of mind. Stronger, wiser, and definitely more careful about who I trust. The hardest lesson I learned wasn't about family or money or legal protections. It was about the difference between helping people and being used by them. Real family lifts you up, they don't tear you down to build themselves up. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat by my pristine pool, watching the sunset reflect off water that was finally clear again. For the first time in almost a year, I was truly home alone. And it felt absolutely perfect. Some bridges aren't worth rebuilding when people burn them down just to watch you scramble. I chose peace over toxic loyalty, and I'd make that choice again every single time. My mansion wasn't just restored, my life was too. The whole thing still feels surreal. Part of me can't believe it got this far, but here we are. Honestly, do you think they left me any other choice?